and you're going to relay all questions. We're live?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for joining this. So a brief note on technical before we get started. If you're having issues joining us, this video platform does require strong Wi-Fi. Not to worry, this will be recorded. It will be posted on facebook.com/Elephant Journal, as well as our blog, as well as the website, elephantjournal.com, a little bit later today. So we have Redford Lewis making a cameo appearance, and then myself, Caitlin Ariel, and I'm the Dean of Elephant Academy. And we have two of our top PAs on the screen with us, Monty from New York City and Josie from New Jersey. And then we have Waylon Lewis, Editor-in-Chief of Elephant Journal, here to chat with you a little bit today about our Academy program and what this program can offer you. So Waylon, if you would lead us through about, we'll get started, and maybe talking a little bit about why we got started.
Great. And if people can confirm you can hear and everything is working properly, or if you have any technical issues, what do they do? Comment. Just, you're hopeless. All right.
If you have technical issues, you're going to watch the video.
We'll share a video in this chat.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Okay. All right. So if everything's good, maybe say something like HAI, H-A-I, Japanese. It's a nice enthusiastic way to say yes. I'm getting a fair amount of feedback, so maybe if you're not talking right now, mute and then come back when you're not. Thank you. So take a good posture. We're going to start with a bow, which is the Eastern version of the Western handshake. It's no big deal. Take a great posture. If any of the other 112 people feel like saying height, right now we're just saying staff say height. Just say height, I'm here. Yes. All right. So take a good posture, best posture of your day. Take a Wonder Woman or a Superman posture, and then relax. So it's not rigid or uptight. And then look at one another. Think about the 112 people here all over the world and those who will see this later. And look at them, look at their hearts, and with respect and appreciation, just offer a bow of hello. And thank you. So we're here to talk about kind of whatever you want. Caitlin, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, so we're here to talk, give you a little taster of what it is like to be in an Elephant Academy meeting. And if you're not familiar with what we do already, we spend about 3 months in our apprenticeship covering social media, journalism ethics, blogging and editing, and the mindful life. And it's about 15 to 20 hour a week immersion into these topics, learning with community, learning with friends, learning with friends of Elephant, Waylon, and our professors and our editors. And it's basically a full-on immersion into mindful communication. We have a couple people on our academy team who are not on screen with us today. Molly, who is the apprenticeship director, and then Jen and Jess, who are coordinators for our apprenticeship. So I do want to introduce everybody to what we cover on Academy and just talking briefly about what to expect from each topic. So let's start with the social media month.
So, I mean, the mission of the Academy, let's make this as interactive as possible. If you have an idea what the mission of the Academy is, maybe in 8 words or something short, just type it in, and we'll see the whole range of ideas. The cool thing about the mission for the Academy is it's like water. It can fit into any container. So if you're wanting to be a massage therapist with more clients, you can do the Academy, learn how to rock Facebook and Instagram or whatever, learn how to write, learn how to communicate in a mission-driven way, and you can get more clients. If you want to be a yoga teacher, you can get more students. If you want to stop working in a cubicle, nothing wrong with cubicles, but if you want to stop working in a cubicle, you can start your weird jewelry business or felt making company through Etsy by getting the word out. So really it's for any kind of career. If you want to start a new one, if you want to invest in yourself and expand your skills for your current career. That's not just marketing copy, that's what it's for. And on a larger scale, if we can find our right livelihood, in Buddhism we talk about right livelihood as doing well, like being able to pay your bills. Who here likes to be able to pay your bills, not be stressed about money every day of your life? I know I was stressed about money. You know, I grew up poor, probably for my whole life until I was about 37. And I mean, stressed about money on a very basic level. Some of us are well off and we like to stress about how our stocks are doing. I'm talking about like buying groceries level of stress. So doing well, but also doing good at the same time. There's this quote, I don't know who it is, it's Plato or something. These days on the internet, quote attribution doesn't really matter. So we'll just say Abraham Lincoln or Einstein said it, or maybe Gandhi said it. I think the Dalai Lama said it. He said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So if you can do well and do good at the same time, then you wake up and you're psyched, right? There's no drudgery. And even the drudgery is fun. I can tell you 90% of my job at Elephant is drudgery, and I love it. I'm like a pig in mud. Caitlin, how much of your job is drudgery?
What?
Do you believe in what you're doing?
Yeah.
Is there a point?
Yeah.
So the right livelihood isn't some big profound thing. It's really, is there a point to what you're doing with your day? Matsu's a mommy. Is there a point to being a mommy? When you're cleaning up the poop or you're being woken up at 2 a.m. or whatever it is, it's helpful to remember that there's a point to it, which is, in the case of children, pretty, what do you call it, primordial or fundamental. It's love, it's connection. In the case of work, however, imagine if the whole world operated on right livelihood. Imagine if what we did with our day wasn't exploitative of others or of our planet, but actually was good for ourselves, good for others, and good for our planet. So that's our mission, is to harness. In yoga, you know, yoga means to yoke, right? So you're yoking your mission with your livelihood. So that's a pretty big mission, but we can empower you to do that, to have the skills to do that. We're not going to train you how to make jewelry. We're not going to train you how to be a yoga teacher. We're not going to really train you to do anything other than how to communicate about it. And that's a powerful thing, because if you can communicate about it, you can get water in to water your rose patch, you know, your flowers, your garden patch. If you can't get water, you can be doing the best. And water is, you know, people caring, wealth, a connection with your customers or your clients or your fellow humans. If you can't get water in to water your garden, the best garden on earth, the best seeds will wither, right?
Yeah, and if you're a blogger and you're writing about why you should adopt a dog and the importance of animal shelters, or if you're a potter and you make beautiful mugs and nobody is seeing them, what's the point? So we teach you how to communicate.
Just trying to get more light on you. More light.
How to communicate your purpose, because there is someone out there in the world who needs to hear your words, but if you're not effectively communicating it, it's not going to get to them. And that's part of why you do take this more holistic approach, covering social media and journalism ethics and writing and editing, because all four of those help you more effectively reach out beyond the choir.
So a lot of you just wrote in your idea of our mission, and our mission is your mission. So if there's some point for you to do the Academy, it's because you, again, want to yoke your mission to our mission to hopefully be of service to your path or your life. So to help make yourself and others aware, to know how to be socially available, to sell your content. And that's completely correct. There's a very practical level to it, to enlighten self and others, spread the word, spread the love. And that may sound happy, wappy, but it's true. If we can spread something, that means we're getting out beyond the choir to all those who might give a care. Paying bills is good. Feeling good is better. Yeah, and imagine if we can do both. My mom was the goodest person I ever knew, and raising me, I remember her crying many times because she didn't have the money to pay for the house or to pay for bills or to pay for food. that level of stress is unnecessary. And I'm glad to say she doesn't have that stress now. We each have a different lens. Elephant is a way to use whatever we have to inspire and change the world for the better. So those are great comments.
So one of the things about the Academy program that makes it unique is we are teaching you live in the field, doing everything that we do as a publication every single day and teaching that to you. And that's a powerful tool. You're not getting old knowledge on social media about Facebook from 6 months ago, or Instagram from 6 months ago.
Yeah.
As we sort of surf out the seeds of what's going on with social media, we convey that to apprentices directly.
Yeah, so I biked here this morning with Redford, who you saw a little cameo of, and I rolled over. There's this little design district in Boulder, and on the design district, there's all these purple quotes. You know what I'm talking about? Near Liquor Mart. And one that I rolled over on, I was thinking about what to talk about today, was this quote from Eric Fromm, and it said, what did it say? It said, creativity is dependent on being willing to let go of everything you know constantly, something like that. And that's how social media is so we haven't mentioned, but Elephant actually is good at this stuff. We've won #1 in the country on Twitter twice for environmental coverage. We've garnered 5 million Facebook fans. We're bigger than Huffington Post on Facebook before paid reach was introduced. We couldn't compete with their investment money because we want to remain independent media. We have grown slowly and steadily up to a max of 23 million monthly readers. The point of all these numbers is that we've actually done this. So this isn't just some sort of, sink oil kind of thing where we're trying to get people in. We've intentionally kept the Academy super affordable compared with, as Caitlin was saying, there's many college programs and such who charge far more for similar stuff, and yet they're not in the field live every day in the way that we are, which is immensely frustrating. Coming back to that quote, if you can't succeed in this day and age unless you're au courant, unless everything you knew has been updated this month and this week and in some cases this day, because everything we're good at a year ago is only half relevant now.
Yeah, and part of that is realizing that, if you're an apprentice, whether you join us or not, or in your business, in your current career, in your business you're aspiring to start, as you learn about digital communication, kind of have to go with the flow and be flexible, shift your strategy, and go with the changes that come out to find what is working for you and for your business to convey whatever it is you're passionate about with your community. And that's something that is really a key message you find throughout the Academy about adapting to the tools you have and using them to be effective.
Okay, sorry. Unmuted.
Continue to speak to what we cover, just an overview in the social media, journalism, ethics, writing, and editing month.
Is there a way to bring up questions now? And then we can kind of organically go through that. I just want to involve all of you and Josie and Monsi and people.
Oh, why not hear from Josie and Monsi?
Right, so if one of you wants to unmute and you can say, what was best about it, what was worst about it, you can say whatever you want. Looks like Josie's gone first.
My experience with the Academy is like Monsi. I went through the Academy and then I was a teaching assistant. And then I was a teaching assistant again. I spent an entire year with these people. I was out of my mind, but it was good. I learned a lot. And it's really rigorous. You were expected to do the assignments. You were expected to do these things, and in exchange for that, you're going to have an amazing experience. You're going to learn a lot. You do the work and you get something out of it. This isn't just like, and at first you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I posting on this Facebook page? And you're like, well, okay, if we're going to, if it's out there, we're going to use it for various purposes. And we're going to bring people to our page and to be a benefit to people, to show what we have, and use Facebook as another tool to promote it.
Thank you. So what's something specific what's one specific moment or something you learned? You get to hear everything.
Well,
I say twice.
Well,
Open, can you close it? If you have Facebook open, can you close it?
Oh, how was my Facebook?
From Facebook Live.
I don't have it open.
Okay.
So the question is just, what's a specific moment or a specific thing you learned that has stuck with you or that you remember that you might want to share?
Never been published before. I read an article and people read my article, and my article was about zero waste, and I think I probably convinced a few people to stop using straws and to stop using disposable cups. I remember the first meeting that we had, stop using those go-to cups. We had 50 people in the meeting, and if everybody promised to do that, and even if they were successful, that's like 200 cups a week. That people weren't going to be putting into the landfill anymore. To-go cup is a to-go cup. That annoys me. I do beach cleanups. I wrote an article about that. I read an article about beach cleanups, and it was...
So, we just lost your volume.
What happened there? Yeah. And I wrote another article about beach cleanups and the things that we found on the beach cleanups and environmental things, and that's kind of my thing. And you get to explore, what is my thing? What am I going to write about? And how can I make other my thing?
That we got from someone joining in today. They're nervous about the social media component just because they don't spend a lot of time on social media, but they know they need it for their blogging and to get the word out there. And then you can speak a little bit to what you learned through the social media aspect of the program.
Yes, we with my apprentices, with my groups, I got that quite a lot. A lot of people that don't like social media. I mean, my husband doesn't have Instagram, Facebook, or anything. But if you want to be heard, and your voice, wants to say something and has something to say, be patient with yourself. Pace yourself and learn. I mean, we are always learning something new. This is necessary to be heard. There is this quote also about almost being a sin when you have something important to teach and share and you don't. So just be kind to the others when you have something important and share it. And maybe it will be to 10 people, maybe it will be 100, maybe it's someone, So just be patient, pace yourself, and listen to what your TAs and Waylon, Caitlin, Molly, and Jessica, and Jen will be teaching you. They're very good at it.
Yeah, so that's a great point. And I would make a further point that what people dislike, like your husband or Caitlin, our accountant, doesn't even have a Facebook account. What people dislike about social media, we agree with. We always try to remind people that the whole point of this is not to add more noise or more hype or try to sell people on anything that's not a genuine offering. There's no sense of trying to get. It's just like in dating, there are skeezy people who are trying to get something out of you or get something out of other people, kind of twisting and not being totally honest. That's like fake news or clickbait in media. So we're coming back to a very human, grounded, and mission-driven perspective that can do three things all at once, which is to be a benefit to society, be a benefit to your life, and to be genuinely helpful to others. And to underline Matsu's point about that quote, like not, I think it's something like, there's no worse feeling than having a story inside of you that you haven't told or something. That's one of the quotes that speaks to that. But there's another one I just remembered the other day from, in the Buddhist perspective, they say, you can go 10,000 lifetimes without running into the Dharma. It's a very precious opportunity. So what we're doing isn't Buddhist per se, but what we're offering is a different way to communicate, which isn't competing with the noise and the hype. There's no way to compete with that, and why would you want to? It's actually, it's like when you go, I sometimes say, when you go to a bookstore, you see a lot of magazines that are trying to get your attention. 10 ways your ex-boyfriend, whatever, how to lose 5 pounds. You know, their headlines are all over the photo. You can barely even see the photo, right? Like the model is here and there's like headlines everywhere. And that's sort of the experience of a mind that hasn't meditated or isn't present. And then there's some magazines that are just beautiful and simple. Maybe they have one headline, maybe they have none, just a photo. And I always look at those and I'm like, wow. I immediately say, oh, I would love to have that on my coffee table. You know, I would love to read that. That looks like a nice experience to go through, to hold. And that's how you sell something. You don't sell it by tricking, by drowning people and get this. You connect with them by offering some space. And that's the same in a relationship, a friendship, a relationship. If you offer a little bit of openness and listening, that's a genuine relationship. Caitlin?
Thank you. Some more questions that we're getting in. Speaking to the journalism ethics component is, why is ethical journalism part of the academy program if Elephant Journal is not a news site? And then a follow-up question, I don't have a journalism background. Do I need an expertise in journalism to be a part of the program?
Yeah. So I'll answer those.
Good.
Okay. Thank you. So, no, we offer journalism ethics for 1 month. And it's weird to me because in my mind, it's sort of, I almost feel shy about offering that part because I feel like people will be bored of it, sort of nerdy. And almost every single academy, it's people's favorite section. Josie and Matsu can speak for themselves, or Caitlin, but it is, or anyone else who's here in the comments, but journalism ethics, journalism is really just the pursuit of truth. It shouldn't be partisan one way or the other. You can take points of view. It's not good to have a balance between, say, false and true. That's not a balance. You know, your balance should be true and true. But journalism ethics is the pursuit of truth. That's very similar to the definition of dharma, which is truth. You don't need a degree at all. You don't even need to be interested in journalism. That's why we offer it. To give you, again, a point of view when you're sharing about Instagram, sharing something on Instagram, sharing something on Facebook, that you're doing it in a genuine, honest way. Most of us are very shy about being honest, if it means being critical. Most of us are very promotional often about ourselves, and we don't need to do either of those things. I have a friend, actually someone I dated a couple months ago. Every single photo of her on Instagram is a selfie of herself doing something. And she's a wonderful person, but we can do more than just selfie up the world, have selfie wallpaper over our experience. We can share what we're delighted in the world. We can connect with others in a genuine way. And journalism ethics informs all of that. And it gives you sort of an arrow in your quiver that other people don't have, a perspective. Mossy or Josie or Caitlin, did you have something to say about journalism ethics? Yeah.
Well, you know that I fell in love completely during my academy last fall. And following the question that you asked Josie about something that I took very in my heart from the academy is like checking facts and speaking the truth. And I think that's important even if you're not doing journalism, because it's very easy to fall into writing a story of something that hurts and just like, or even if it's not personal, a news that you hear, and just check the facts, check, research. It's very, very, very important. And that's a beautiful part of doing this ethically. We have that big problem in the world right now. And once you get that, you will be able to do change, and you will be able to be of benefit, even if it's with small little things that how things get done.
Monty, if I can jump in and ask you a follow-up question. When you first heard that we were talking about journalism ethics, what were you excited about learning? And then once you finished learning about journalism ethics, what did you walk away with?
I've always been a very big, sorry.
Go ahead.
I've always been a big fan of journalism. I love the information provided. I think that we need to be very aware of what's happening in the world, and if not, we're doomed to repeat ourselves. And that's something well known. I have seen many of my apprentices in my small groups that weren't, and they were very surprised by how Elephant Journal takes this road through the program and the topic, all the material, how people that you guys bring into and are interviewed, the experience that Waylon has, and just to be able to see and work and do it live and have that feedback is very important. And I have not known of one of my apprentices or my fellow students that did not like that part of the apprenticeship.
So one example I think I gave last academy is the difference between, so you don't have to care about journalism. Who cares about journalism? Journalists don't even care about journalism. What they care about is being of service to the public, telling the public what they need to know, not just what they want to know. So we're not putting up, Kim Kardashian's latest thing all the time unless it's relevant to the public good. And my example last semester, I think, was, so Elephant is not a news site. We do cover news regularly, like Charlottesville or whatever. We cover it from a sane, hopefully, sometimes when appropriate, fun or empathetic point of view. But we cover news. But most of what we do is more kind of creative, personal stories, recipes, whatever it is, right? And all of that is what underlies all of that is journalism ethics, meaning if we put up a smoothie recipe and it has journalism ethics below it, that smoothie recipe will actually be good for you. It'll have info about where you can get it, how much, la, la, la. If we put up a smoothie recipe without journalism ethics, the smoothie recipe is probably sponsored by Amazon, Whole Foods, or someone, but we're not really admitting that, right? We maybe are calling everything superfoods, even if it's not good for you particularly. We don't really care about the health or the morals or the ethics. We're just caring about the clicks and getting some money for our sponsors, right? So it's possible to be ethical about all those things and actually be a benefit to people. And that is something useful for however you're going to communicate or use what you might learn in the academy. Having ethics behind it will engender trust with those you're communicating with, and that will make you successful. Because trust, like there's one of my favorite business books is Small Giants. There are certain companies that have that trust, like Ben & Jerry's back in the 80s and 90s had that trust. Patagonia has that trust now. New York Times, for many people, has that trust, although it's been kind of, called liberal partisan stuff by some people. There are certain companies that are incredibly well respected, and you can be one of them. Okay.
Josie, did you have anything you wanted to add about your favorite part of our journalism ethics instruction?
I love journalism, and it was just when I started the academy, it was in June of last year, before the presidential election. So that is the year that I spent learning about journalism, watching down the toilet and watching different people meet consumer, as somebody with a Facebook page that somebody pays attention to, I'm responsible for what I put up on my page. I'm responsible for put up. I kind of fact check my stuff before I put it up, so people are like, "Oh yeah, Josie put this up. I know she checked it. She doesn't put up any of that garbage stuff. This must be, somewhat accurate. She vets things before she puts it up." Even though I am not a journalist and I don't have a degree from the university, I am still distributing information on the Facebook page through conversations that I have with people that I work with in the public. And so I'm responsible for making sure that the things that I communicate to people are correct.
Do you want to go to some questions?
Yeah. So let me just piggyback on what Josie said. And part of the course is writing. You'll have the opportunity to publish on elephantjournal.com, and why this journalism ethics background is important is because the words that you do publish do make an impact. So if you're publishing an article from your perspective about why gluten-free is bad, or why drinking cow's milk is bad, we're going to make sure that that is grounded in journalistic integrity and that you're not putting false information out in the world, because that's not doing any good for our world. Let's jump into some more questions that we're getting. So we have a question from Lilith. And Lilith says, I struggle with discipline when it comes to my writing. Where do you find the drive to write every day, regardless of mood, activity, or time constraints? And Waylon, Josie, or Matsu, if you want to jump in and answer that and speak a little bit to what that question means to you.
One of you want to answer that? If not, I can.
I can speak from of a toddler. He is in bed training right now. He wakes up around 5:30 in the morning, gets me out of bed, and he won't go to bed until 9:30, and I have to stay with him. So it's all day long. Well, right now he's napping, but all day long. It's like this little boy following me around. So it is hard. It is hard to find time to sit down and do my writing and do my thing. But still, I find it like when he's napping, even if it's for 10 minutes a day. This was told to me by an excellent Mexican writer. And when I told her that I wanted to be a writer, that was 5 years ago, she was like, 10 minutes. You can't call yourself a writer if you don't sit at least 10 minutes every day. You choose the hour, you choose. Instead of doing more your makeup, instead of straightening your hair, instead of whatever little things that takes you 10 to 15 minutes, sit down and write. Just anything. You have 10 minutes. Instead of doing that, call to your best friend. You'll call her some other day. So just a commitment. If you really want to become a writer and call yourself a writer, do the commitment to yourself. And eventually you'll do it to an audience,
Yeah, I agree with that. I also would offer a very different perspective, which is in an old academy semester when Caroline Beechin was around, she'll be in the next academy as a guest professor. I listed all these reasons why you shouldn't be a writer. And the final line of that, it was like, you're too busy. You don't know what to write about. You don't know what your voice is. You're not as good as whoever your favorite writer is. You don't have anything to say compared with, the Buddha or the Bible or whatever. It was a list of all the reasons you should give up. And then the last line of it was, if you read all of that and you still want to be a writer, you're a writer. So discipline is a very dangerous word when it comes to writing. Discipline is the word that, if unexamined, will lead to writer's block. If you're trying to push yourself to write, you're going to experience writer's block. If you're trying to bully yourself. But discipline in Buddhism is the same word as joy. If your discipline is joy, again, coming back to Mansi being a parent, yes, she has, would you call it discipline to relate to your child? Well, kind of, but not really. You have to do it, but you also love to do it, even if it's not fun. And even if it's really hard and love isn't exactly the emotion you're feeling all the time when it's frustrating, you still love it fundamentally. And, you know, and people talk about how parenting transforms a human. Writing can be the same way. It's a fundamental need. You have to write. There's that great Ernest Hemingway quote, which is something like, writing is easy. All you have to do is, I don't remember what it is, but open up a vein and bleed. If nothing will get in the way of you writing, you're a writer. And if, you know, the only caveat I would say there is if you haven't found your voice, it's very difficult to be inspired to write because it's hard. You're kind of lost and you're kind of going the wrong direction. You're in a hallway in the dark and you're bumping into the walls. So that's one thing we really take a lot of time, and with others, focusing on how to find your voice. What is your voice? And it's actually a far simpler answer than we might think. It's not some big process. It's very similar to the path of meditation. And it involves, I'll give you a hint, it involves not finding anything. You already have it. It's just relaxing instead of trying to drum something up. So I agree, 10 minutes a day for sure. That kind of simple thing is also helpful with meditation. But you shouldn't have to force yourself into it. It's sort of like if someone said, I want you every day to eat a banana fudge sundae with vegan and organic and local food and whatever, you don't have any issue eating it, you're not allergic to anything, while sitting in a hot tub, and you love hot tubs, while getting a massage for your tight shoulders, while unicorns dance about and rainbows are everywhere, you wouldn't say, damn, I have to do that 10 minutes a day. You'd say, okay, where do I go? That sounds great. So that should be the feeling of writing. Of genuine writing is catharsis. It actually relaxes all of your problems just by giving a voice to them. And if it's more journalistic, by sharing truth that is helpful to others. There's something just fundamentally really pleasurable about it, even if it's sad or heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it helps you negotiate writer's block when you're writing from that place of catharsis.
And like you said, with parenting, you don't enjoy every minute of it. You won't enjoy every piece of it. Everyone enjoy every article and every piece of writing you'll do, but that's okay. And you have to be also gentle with yourself about it.
Yes.
We have a couple of logistical questions regarding the academy from Pam. I have a full-time job, so most of this coursework would need to be done in the evenings and weekends. Does that work for the program? So you don't have to attend the large group meetings that are on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time to take the program. They are of benefit, but we do record them and offer them out within the same day. And then every other aspect of the program can be flexible on your own time. You'll be in a small group with a teaching assistant, and you'll have your small group community. And those are at multiple times throughout the week to accommodate people from Australia to the US to Europe. And, you know, if you can join us some weeks for meetings, that's great. If you can join us all the time, that's even better. The meetings are the magic and really our one chance to get together during the week and recap and be in community with what we're here to do.
And what Caitlin said, if you can't make the meetings, you can watch the videos and you can get the magic, but you can't obviously ask questions live in the same way, although you still can put questions in and people get answers back to you. And the other magic, as Caitlin and especially Josie and Motsi know, is a small group, which no matter what your schedule is, you can participate in. Do either of you want to say something about small groups?
Reach to your teammates. Be comfortable with them. Be comfortable to ask whatever you need and just create that intimacy. It's beautiful to have a small group that shares the same interests, that share respect for you. So just be open to be part of it. Because once you are, it's great.
And Josie?
For the small groups, sometimes there's like 50, 75 people in the meeting. Don't want to talk, haha. You really don't want to talk during the meeting and interrupt. But you can ask your group leader for your small group, your TA. You can ask all this that you have. Groups, we kind of like, okay, this week's meeting, we're going to do this. How's your writing? And did you write any articles? And what did you think? And you have a smaller, more intimate group to bounce ideas off of. Whenever we did our final projects, we bounced ideas off of each other, and we really got close to each other and shared a lot of things with each other, and we really got to be tight groups. Any of the groups that I was in, I did the academy 3 times, once as an apprentice, twice as a TA. I still talk to all those people that were in my small groups. We got really close. We were like, I hesitate to say family because some people have really weird families, but we have really weird families. It was a lot of fun, and we got really close. Group for a reason, so that you can have that personal attention that you need. And you don't feel afraid to ask.
And, you know, in keeping with our not trying to sell anything, what we teach, I would say, and I know Caitlin and I have discussed this a lot, Pam, to answer your question, and I think someone else also wanted to hear an answer. Your question being, I have a full-time job, so most of the coursework would need to be done in the evenings and weekends. Does that work for the program? If you feel like it doesn't work, you definitely shouldn't do it. If you feel like you can make time and flexibility, and you know, we'll be there to support you, which we will, you should definitely jump in, because a lot of our busyness is busyness, it's speediness. And when we slow down, which we'll also teach a lot about how to get more done by being present instead of by being sort of busy and multitasking, then you should jump in. So, you know, if you don't think you should do it, no pressure. But if you have a desire, generally, if you have a desire, remember, discipline equals joy. If you have a desire, if it's fun, meaningful, you'll find a way to do it. And it's basically an hour, I think Josie said this, or Katie, it's an hour a day in terms of the LMS and basic stuff, and then there's meetings in small groups. So that can be 15 hours, that can be more, that can be 10 hours. It really depends on the person. So, and you can decide to get as much or as little out of it. Some people just want, you know, a small serving. And then we have an auditing branch, which we can talk about later as well.
Thank you. From Manila, what happens after the academy? Freelance, ? Working for Elephant Journal, ? What's the next step?
Well, we've definitely had a long track record of hiring or trying to hire those who are available, who we loved through the academy, but certainly that's not the point of the academy. Hundreds of people through the academy for their own career path. And then what happens after is more and more, basically. I would say historically not that much. People would fall in love in the family sense, as Josie was talking about. There'd be all this community, then the last day would be this feeling of graduation. Then people would go off into their own lives. And really that is the point, that it benefits your life in a very unending way. But we are beginning to offer more and more courses and have a sort of ongoing curriculum. You can continue to write for Elephant. We do pay our consistent best writers. You can, you know, benefit your career. So what happens is it's sort of up in the air, but we do offer other things to do.
Josie and Moxie, if we can have you speak a bit to, now that you have graduated from the academy, a couple or all the skills that you've learned that you are using in your writing or your social media, and what happened for you?
I'm writing a lot more. I just finished my last academy as a senior TA, what was it, a week ago? And it is hard to leave, but I am very excited to start working on my own webpage, and I keep searching for writing workshops. I travel a lot, so wherever I go, I have like the commitment of looking for a writers group, looking for a workshop, and keep working on myself as a writer. I keep submitting a lot to Elephant Journal because I love the website and I love the mission. And I talked about this a little bit on my Instagram. It's like the matrix, like making that choice of taking the red pill, which wakes you up to what things are and not staying in this green light reality. You get to see the importance of truth, of being kind, of trying to be of benefit, of all of these beautiful values that as a writer are important. We don't need more competitive and successful people. We need people that want to be of benefit and kind and something good for the world, and don't use plastic.
You want to, do you have other questions? You had a list of questions from people, right?
Josie, is there anything you wanted to jump in and add?
We're running a little short on time, so I'll just let that go. Social media that I do at my job, real world stuff.
So a final question that I want to address before we start to wrap up is we hear from a lot of folks who say I'm a complete beginner in social media. I know nothing about what to do, but I'm intrigued by it. Should I still apply? Yes, you can come in as a beginner to this program. You can come in as a pro, and we teach you something different about what we know and what we've done with the elephant's approach and how that might work for you in incorporating it in a mindful way. So there's no minimum requirement to be involved. Waylon, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Don't we have more questions?
So another question that we've received is, why should I do the academy if I get the same information in auditing course? You want to jump in, or I can jump in?
No, I don't. So yeah, both. So people probably don't know what auditing is here. Auditing is the academy. It's all the same info, videos, quizzes in the LMS, the learning management software or system. So it's self-guided. So if you think you're too busy to do the full academy, you can do it at your own pace, on your own. If you're super introverted, I still encourage you to do the academy, but auditing could be fun because it's just you and your best friend, your laptop, and it's way cheaper as well because it's just self-guided. So there's quizzes, there's a point system, so it's fun. All the videos are in there. But you don't have the small groups like the TAs, like Monty and Josie or others, and you don't have the live meetings. You have access to, well, you do have access to the live meetings and to all the videos, but it's just a little less community focused. You want to add anything?
Yeah, so I'll just add on my own experience. I did the academy as an apprentice several years ago, and I'm quiet and reserved by nature, and I think Josie will echo this experience. You know, I'm not one to speak in a group or talk in the classroom historically, but it really encouraged me to get out of my shell and find my voice as a writer, find my voice as a communicator by doing this program. That's what you get out of the community aspect. We're working with our editors directly. We have a team of about 15 editors across the world who will help you and give you feedback on your writing and your social media. And you're working with your TAs, you're working with each other, learning with each other. You get access to our private Facebook community and this really immense network of opportunities to dive into whatever aspect of the course is intriguing you the most and learn from that and sink your teeth into that.
On the, someone asked about scholarship opportunities. So we have a very limited scholarship fund. It's basically a fund that is maintained by graduates of the academy who are inspired by it, who have something to give back and want others to be able to have that same benefit to be able to do the academy. The other thing I would say in terms of scholarships is it is important to always be able to offer something, even if you have limited funds. That's kind of a principle in Buddhist programs, is even if it's a symbolic amount. So we don't offer 100% scholarships. It's important that you have some skin in the game, that you put 2 feet in, and that you're committed all the way. Every course, we have a couple people who in the first week realize it's way too much time, and they drop out, and we're fine to do refunds for the most part, but you know, we really appreciate when people are 2 feet in. And then, yeah, so there's the link, learn.elephantjournal.com/scholarship-application. It's really catchy. And then what you'll be doing in the academy, if you're doing the full academy in terms of social media, is you have a choice to experiment and maintain and grow, or try to grow, and fail or not fail, one of our Facebook pages with 60,000 fans, 100,000 fans, whatever. Yeah, exactly, Josie. You can curate those pages with content. So if it's elephant bicycle or elephant family or elephant green, sharing appropriate content, elephant adventure. And you'll see the reach grow or not, depending on how you do. And no other program that I know of offers the opportunity to do that live. This is not our way to get free support. It takes a ton of time for us to train people. It's a pain in the butt. That's why the academy costs money, because we're happy to do that training. But you also don't have to do the Facebook. It's optional. It's only for people who really want to learn how to rock Facebook. We also talked about Instagram and other social media that we ourselves use and feel like is worthwhile.
All right, so we are at time. If you would wrap this up, please.
Cool. Did we have other student questions, or no? That's it? Okay. All right. Well, I guess if you have more questions, put them in the sidebar and we'll just answer them. And if you're watching this video at a later date, we'll put those additional questions and answers in the comments.
And if you are interested in our fall session, the application deadline is tonight at midnight.
Exactly. It's tonight, and if things go well, we may or may not extend it, but tonight is the deadline. So jump on in, and you can just apply and check it out.
elephantjournal.com/academy.
And Emily, everyone, thank you for your time. It's been fun. It's fun. We love I always say the academy is the most inspiring thing we get to do. So it's always fun to sit around and talk. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Josie and Monson.
So take a good posture, connect with your breath, your heart, sky above, earth below, and give it away.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
All right.